Hi, everybody. I'm Zach. I am the host of the 668 Show, and I say welcome back to the channel. Hey, I'm so glad you're here, and since you're here, give this video a thumbs up. So like it, share it with all your pagan friends, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. That is the best way that you're going to be able to help this channel grow and impact the YouTube and the Facebook and the Instagram and all that other stuff that's out there to help disciple, to help spread the gospel, help people grow in their faith digitally, So you guys can help me out in that mission by doing so. We're going to jump right into Matthew chapter 2 and let's talk about it. Let's generate some conversation in the comments section down below, right? Tell me guys what you're doing. Tell me what you guys are reading and how it is that you're studying the scripture. Are you using concordances? Are you using commentaries? What is it that you're using? I'm curious to know. So, all right, with that, let's get that out of the way and jump right in. Matthew chapter 2, verse 1. Oh, don't forget that I've got my Bible with me, Christian Standard Bible. It's the one I like to read out of. It's the one I like to kind of study out of. Though it's not the only one that I read out of or study out of. It's one of my favorites. Okay, let's get into it. After Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, in the days of King Herod, wise men from the east arrived in Jerusalem, saying, "Where is he who has been born King of the Jews? For we saw his star at its rising and have come to worship him." So who is this King Herod the Great? As Matthew pens this out and writes to us, or at least writes to his Jewish audience that he intended it to go to. Who is it? So Herod the Great came to be king of Israel around 40 BC, and he did not rule that kingdom too long. He ended up dying somewhere around 4 to 2 BC. So Jesus was born somewhere between 5 to 2 BC, somewhere right around there. Could have been as early as 6 BC. And I know that might be really getting with you guys going like, wait, what? I thought he was born in 0 AD or 1 AD, as some people. But when it comes to the date of his birth, it's kind of gauged in an about. And it's kind of like that with almost all history of antiquity. It's almost all of about this time frame and stuff like that. But anyway, so Herod wasn't a Jew. He was an Idumean, and he was appointed by Rome. Rome did not want Jews to rule the kingdom of Israel. And actually, Israel or Judea was split up into several different areas. And so there were different kings presiding over those different areas, ruling kind of like a governor does a state. When it comes to the United States, you have the president of the states, and then you have governors of each and every single one of the states that is in the union. So almost in like that manner, you have someone over in Syria, you had someone in Judea, you had somebody that was, oh my gosh, Judea, Syria, and what's the other one? Oh my gosh, I'll get there. Anyway, so that's who King Herod was. And now we see these wise men show up on the scene. And who are these wise men? Some of your translations may use the word magi, and not much is actually really known about them. It is believed that they were sorcerers somewhere from an eastern kingdom. Sometimes people think that they are Babylonian or Persian. There's a couple varying views. One of them is that they were Zoroastrians that had come over and given these gifts to Jesus as they saw this star. They were like astrologers mixed in with the Zoroastrian belief system. There's another view that Daniel, who ended up dying childless, he did not have the prophet Daniel, he died childless, he did not have a wife, he was actually a eunuch, he was made one. So he did not choose to live a life that way, he was made that way by the Babylonian king. And it wasn't just him. There were several Jewish males that were made that way. Anyway, there's a viewpoint that he had appointed a group of people to take his treasures, his wealth, and take it to the promised Messiah when he would be born. And supposedly this is just a traditional view, and that there's actually no scripture to back any of the views up, not a single one of them. But here's something that we do know about these wise men, or these magi. They see a star, and God is moving with them. He's using them and sends them to this place in Bethlehem. As we read through verses 5 through 9, that they are sent there to give Jesus, baby Jesus, these gifts: gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And we're not even really sure how many of these wise men they are. I know that in the Christmas story, the nativity scene, you see 3 wise men, and then you see a few shepherds that have come and all that stuff. You're not going to see the shepherds in the Gospel of Matthew, but the shepherds are there in the Gospel of Luke. And they're there actually at the birth of Jesus, versus these magi, these wise men that come, and it's approximately 2 years into the life cycle of Jesus. And this is how we know that. It says in verse 16, "Then Herod, when he realized that he had been outwitted by the wise men, flew into a rage. He gave orders to massacre all the boys in and around Bethlehem who were 2 years old and under, in keeping with the time he had learned from the wise men. Then what was spoken through Jeremiah the prophet was fulfilled. A voice was heard in Ramah, weeping and great mourning, Rachel weeping for her children, and she refused to be consoled, because they are no more." And so with that, I will conclude that particular section about the wise men, because there's really not much more I can say about them. They are warned in a dream that Herod is going to do something nefarious, and they leave, going back to their hometown another route. You can see that from verses 13 to 15. However, there is something that I think that we should probably also pay attention to, is that there's some similarities, some parallels happening with the story of Moses and with Jesus. So when Moses was born, Pharaoh, king of Egypt, whoever that Pharaoh was, could have been Ramses II. We're not really sure who the Pharaoh was or what his name was. And that's not necessarily important to this particular part of the gospel, but there is some similarities happening here. Pharaoh had ordered all male children to be killed whenever he was king. And Moses had to be spared by his parents, ended up putting him in a basket after so long, and Pharaoh's daughter ends up getting a hold of Moses and raises Moses to be her own, to raise him to be an Egyptian. Though Jesus wasn't raised to be an Egyptian, what we see is that Herod is slaughtering the innocents just like Pharaoh did. Another key point that we should point out here is that Jesus is a type and shadow of a greater Moses. In fact, Hebrews 3:1 says that Jesus is the high priest of our confession. Moses was a priest, and something that God is doing is he's calling Jesus out of Egypt. And we see that in verse 15. "And he stayed there until Herod's death, so that what was spoken by the Lord through the prophet might be fulfilled. Out of Egypt I called my son." And that is Hosea chapter 11, verse 1. After Herod dies, Joseph and Mary are given a vision. Well, mostly Joseph, that Herod is dead, that he should be able to go back to, not that he should, but that he can return back to Nazareth. And so he does. And so after Herod died, verse 19, an angel of the Lord appeared in a dream to Joseph in Egypt, saying, "Get up, take the child and his mother and go to the land of Israel, because those who intended to kill the child are dead." So he got up, took the child and his mother, and entered the land of Israel. But when he heard that Archelaus was ruling over Judea in place of his father Herod, he was afraid to go there. And being warned in a dream, he withdrew to the region of Galilee. Then he went and settled in a town called Nazareth to fulfill what was spoken through the prophets, that he would be called a Nazarene. Now, Archelaus, another cruel man that ruled Jerusalem at this point in time, or Judea. Herod was a cruel man. In fact, you can go back and read some of Josephus, who records some of these works of Herod the Great, as he was requested to be called. In fact, he had slaughtered royal Jews to make his own name great. How wicked and deceitful is that he would do such a thing to these people. I don't understand that myself, but that is something that Josephus records. And not everything that Herod done that was atrocious was ever recorded by Josephus, but he did record several things, and there's some other texts outside of Josephus, like Matthew, that record Herod doing atrocious things. Archelaus was another man who did atrocious things, which is recorded by Tacitus and Josephus. And you can read about that kind of stuff if you want to in the Antiquities. But anyway, I think that we've had enough of chapter 2 for today, and I think we'll go into chapter 3 in the next video and get on with the herald of King Jesus, because that is the point. The gospel, Jesus. He's why we're here. This is why I'm here. Anyway, hey, just to let you all know, in the next few weeks, I'm going to be sitting down with an author named Ben Dooley, and he's going to be giving us a testimony of how he ended up coming to the Lord. He wrote a book, this book right here. I've read it. It's a great book. I reviewed it. You can go check it out on Amazon. However, I would really promote this book if I were paid to do so. I'm not paid to do so, but I'm going to highly promote the book anyway because it's that good. It's an awesome testimony. Go read it. Go check it out. It's awesome. Also, stay tuned, because next week on Monday, a video is dropping, and it is a testimony video of my friend Chris. It's an excellent video. We go almost an hour and a half into it, and it is excellent. I think you guys are going to enjoy it. He's got some hard-hitting stuff in it that I'm not going to spoil for you at all. It gets dark. Let me tell you that. It gets really dark. And hey, it is by the word of our testimony that we conquer. It's by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony that the enemy is conquered and defeated. So it's important for us to tell our testimonies as well. Hey, don't forget to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and share this with your friends. It is the best and only way at the moment that you can support this channel, help it grow. And with that, God bless you. See you in the next video.